Right now, people are judging you before you even speak. Before you say a single word, before you introduce yourself, before you explain who you are, they've already decided how much respect you deserve. And the truth is, most of that judgment has nothing to do with what you say. It's based on how you carry yourself, how you move, how you react, and what you tolerate. Respect is not something you ask for. It's something people feel when they're around you. It's an impression, an energy, a signal. And most people lose respect not because they're weak, but because they give off signals that say, "You don't have to take me seriously." The good news is, you don't need to talk more to gain respect. In fact, the people who are respected the most often say the least. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to gain respect without saying a word. These are silent behaviors that instantly change how people see you. Most people are controlled by their emotions. Someone says something slightly disrespectful, and they react immediately. They get defensive. They try to prove themselves. They explain too much, and in that moment, they lose power. Because when you react instantly, you're telling people that they control your emotional state. They push a button, and you respond. That's not strength. That's predictability. But when you stay calm, when you pause, when you don't react right away, something changes. The energy shifts. Now people don't know how to read you. They don't know what you're thinking. And that uncertainty creates respect. Psychologically, humans associate emotional control with status. The person who remains composed under pressure is perceived as more dominant, more stable, and more confident. Not because they say anything, but because they don't need to. This doesn't mean you suppress everything. It means you choose your response instead of reacting automatically. Silence, when used correctly, is powerful. A calm face in a tense moment sends a message that words never could. When you constantly explain your decisions, justify your actions, or defend yourself before anyone even questions you, you lower your perceived value. It signals insecurity. It tells people that you need approval. For example, you say no to something, and then you start explaining. "I can't because I'm busy. I have this thing, and I also need to..." You keep going, trying to make your reason sound acceptable. But the more you explain, the more it sounds like you're asking for permission. High-respect individuals don't do that. They say what needs to be said, and they stop. "I can't make it. That doesn't work for me. I'm not interested." And then silence. This works because people respect boundaries that are clear and firm. When you over-explain, you invite negotiation. When you keep it simple, you close the door. You don't need everyone to understand you. You just need to be clear. The way you move communicates more than you realize. Rushed movements, fidgeting, constantly checking your phone, looking around nervously. These signals tell people you're unsure, distracted, or seeking validation. On the other hand, slow, controlled movements signal confidence. When you walk, don't rush like you're trying to escape. Walk like you belong there. When you sit, don't collapse into the chair. Sit with awareness. When you look at something, hold your gaze for a second before shifting. These small details create a completely different presence. Your brain associates speed with urgency and low status, and calmness with control and high status. That's why people who move slowly and deliberately often appear more confident, even if they say nothing. You don't have to exaggerate it. Just remove unnecessary movements. Stillness is powerful. The less you move without purpose, the more intentional you appear. Most people are afraid of silence. The moment a conversation pauses, they rush to fill it. They start talking just to avoid awkwardness. And in doing that, they give away their power. Because silence is not weakness. Silence is control. When you're comfortable with silence, you're showing that you don't need constant validation. You're not desperate to be liked. You're not trying to impress. And that creates a sense of confidence that people can feel. For example, someone asks you a question. Instead of answering immediately, you pause for a second. You think, then you respond. That pause alone increases perceived intelligence and authority. Or, When someone says something disrespectful, instead of arguing, you look at them calmly. You don't react. That silence becomes pressure. And often, they'll start backtracking. Silence makes people reveal themselves. The more comfortable you are with it, the more control you have over the interaction. Eye contact is one of the simplest ways to communicate confidence without saying anything, but most people either avoid it completely or overdo it. Avoiding eye contact signals insecurity. It tells people you're unsure, nervous, or hiding something. On the other hand, aggressive staring can feel threatening. The balance is steady, relaxed eye contact. When someone is speaking, you look at them. When you speak, you don't look away immediately. You hold it for a moment, then you naturally break. This creates a sense of presence. It shows that you're engaged, aware, and not intimidated. And in eye contact also triggers a psychological response. People interpret it as honesty, confidence, and strength. It's a nonverbal signal that says, "I'm comfortable here." And comfort is contagious. When you're comfortable, people feel it. And when they feel it, they respect it. Respect comes from what you tolerate. If you allow people to interrupt you, disrespect you, or take advantage of your time, they will continue doing it. Not because they're bad people, but because you showed them it's allowed. Boundaries are not about being aggressive. They're about being clear. If someone interrupts you, you don't laugh it off. You calmly continue what you were saying. If someone disrespects you, you don't overreact. You disengage. You reduce access. And most importantly, you don't explain your boundaries in detail. You don't need a long speech. Your behavior is enough. When you consistently enforce boundaries, people adjust. They learn how to treat you based on what you accept. And if they don't adjust, they remove themselves. Either way, your environment improves. The more you try to be noticed, the less people respect you. Constantly trying to impress, always trying to be funny, always trying to be the center of attention, it signals neediness. Respect grows in the opposite direction. When you're comfortable not being the loudest person in the room, when you don't feel the need to prove yourself, when you let your actions speak instead of your words, people start noticing you more. Because now your presence feels intentional, not forced. There's a difference between attention and presence. Attention is loud. Presence is quiet but powerful. People who command respect don't chase attention. They attract it by being grounded, focused, and selective with their energy. Now step back and look at the pattern. Respect is not about dominance. It's not about being aggressive. It's not about talking more. It's about control. Control of your emotions. Control of your words. Control of your movements. Control of your attention. Control of what you tolerate. The less reactive you are, the more powerful you appear. The less you need validation, the more valuable you seem. The more comfortable you are in silence, the more people listen when you finally speak. And here's the truth most people don't realize. People are always watching, even when you think they're not. They're observing how you react, how you carry yourself, and how you handle pressure. You don't need to announce your worth. You show it. So the next time you walk into a room, don't focus on what to say. Focus on how you show up. Because respect doesn't start with your voice. It starts with your presence.